And we continue learning Dirshu Mishnah Brura Hilchos Betzias Hapas Siman Kuf Samach Zayin, and we are up to Sif Zayin. Says the Mechaber, Reuven sheyanotel yadav la'achila. Reuven is washing his hands to eat. V'Yaakov mevarech ha'maitzi, and Yaakov is making a bracha on ha'maitzi. V'niskavein l'haitzi ha'shaymim, and Yaakov is making a bracha, and he has in mind to be yaitze all those who are listening. So Reuven is in the middle of washing his hands, while Yaakov, no, why we skip Siman, I'm not sure. While Yaakov is making the bracha of Hamaitzi. So Reuven now dries his hands, makes an al netilas yadayim, says the Machaber lo yav hefsek. So you would think, while Yaakov is making the bracha, Reuven is washing his hands, and Reuven even makes a bracha after hearing the Hamaitzi of Yaakov. It's not a hefsek. Reuven is yaitzi with his bracha of Yaakov, and he does not have to make a new Hamaitzi. Says the Mishnah Brura Sivkatan Mem Dalet. And so again, explaining what's going on over here, Yaakov is making a bracha lahaitzi hashaymim. Says the Mishnah Brura, V'gam hashaymim kivnu latzis b'berachasei, and those listening are also having in mind to be yaitzi with his bracha. Then Reuven goes and dries and makes a bracha of al netilas yadayim. Same things if the whole bracha is afterwards. And this could happen maybe in a larger family. The father sits down, and as he makes a maitzi, one of the kids was, I don't know, in the bathroom. So as the father is making a maitzi, that child is in the kitchen washing. So let's say the father makes a maitzi, and then after he makes a maitzi, the child, wherever it is, washes and makes al netilas yadayim. Gan kein yaitzi with David, he is yaitzi. The chol zeh lo have a hefsek. Why? Because of course it's a necessity for the meal of chanal. It only spoke about this case in which he's washing during the bracha and then made al netilas yadayim afterwards. Allah to teach in Berachas al netilas yadayim b'shah sheYaakov birech hamaitzi. Let's say the actual netilas yadayim was at the same time that Reuven was making the al netilas yadayim while Yaakov was making the hamaitzi. Then Deloi Yatza. You have to hear and understand the bracha of hamaitzi, and you can't be being mafsik with other words. Then it works. I think one seven kuf begimel saves the vav. The kiddush says the Mishnah Brura that many are negligent. Many make this mistake that while the balabais is making the kiddush, other people, I guess, are talking or they're making other brachas, etc. Sivkatan menvav ubirach al netilas yadayim is not a hefsek vavagav the kaimlan shemei kaino. Even though we hold that Shemei listening when Reuven hears the bracha of Amoitzi from Yaakov, it's as if Reuven himself said it. Kfar bas, like a margman loves him, kov nachasiv yidavdim, kodim shebir al netilas yadayim, bir Amoitzi yuchel avarech al netilas yadayim. So now ask the Mishnah Brura 1 second. Let's say you messed up and you forgot to say al netilas yadayim, and you said Amoitzi. Can you say al netilas yadayim afterwards? No. So why here, if we're going with Shemei Ka'ina, if I hear Hamaitzi, why can I say al netilas yadayim afterwards? Says Mishnah Brura, since you did not dry your hands before the Hamaitzi, therefore it's not considered, as we've seen, it's the drying of the hands, the completion of the washing. So because it's not considered that he finished washing, therefore he's able to make the al netilas yadayim afterwards. Aval, says Mishnah Brura, very important. If he already dried his hands, then then you cannot make an al netilas yadayim because you already yotze with the bracha of hamaitzi. We continue with Sivcha, says the Mechaber. Let's say you forgot. It happens. And you don't make the bracha of hamaitzi. This karbetay chasuda mevarich. Make the bracha then. V'im loy niskar shegamar suda asai. Einoi mevarich. And then Siftas says, if you're not sure, so again, if you know you didn't make the bracha, remember during the meal, you make a bracha. If you already finished the meal, it's too late. Now, if you're not sure, if you made hamaitzi, you do not make a new hamaitzi. Says Mr. Boris, if Katan Mem is Zayin Mivarich. Says Mishra, what are you talking about? If you didn't make a bracha, let's say I'm sitting here and having a drink, and let's say in the middle, here I realize, hey, I didn't make a bracha. So of course, just because you did one Aveira, just because you stole one time from Hashem, just because you drink without a bracha, doesn't mean you should continue. Similarly over here, if you've got to make a mitzvah, make it during the Suda. Says Mr. Brua, but if you finish the Suda, then you cannot make a bracha. Why? Because the bracha of Birchas Hanenim is like other Birchas HaMitzvahs. That you can only make the bracha pre and not post. Unless it's a mitzvah, there's certain mitzvahs you can't make beforehand. Let's say you could have a little bit more bread, and then it's better to make the bracha and then eat. We conclude with Sif Tess, Sif Kata Mem Tess, in Chazim Varich. The bracha of hamaitzi is only derabanan, usveika lekula, and that's a classical rule of brachas. Brachas rishaynes for sure. Brachas hanenin, it's a derabanan. Therefore, misveika, you not repeat. So you want to be machmer, not allowed to. Mishum bracha sheina tzricha miu. Mizdam nefana b'misibasay echad sharoitz lechol pas. But let's say someone else that's eating bread. It's better to be yotze from him so as not to have any issues. So we conclude over here with the Dirshu, note number 38, that all brachos you have to make oiver lasiyasam. Someone who puts a drink in his mouth without a bracha, we're going to see in Kofayim Beis, he should swallow and not make a bracha, and do not make a bracha rishona afterwards. The Rama over there is going to argue, and he's going to say you could make a bracha rishona immediately afterwards. What's the reason? So the Shabru over there in Kofayim Beis explains, even though by us, you cannot make a new bracha rishona after you already swallow the food. But if you remember, while the drink is in your mouth, and at that moment, you have the obligation of the bracha, and then right afterwards you make the bracha, that's at some level, like Oiver Lasiyasam says Mishpur Lamaisa, Rai Paiskim do not agree. And finally, what's the reason you don't want to make a bracha in Tzricha? Why can you not make a bracha misafik? Says the Shartzi and Rish Tes Vav. It's a bracha levatala, even though according to many Rishayim is only derabanan, but it's asmachta al krav loisisa, not to profane the name of Hashem, is chamer milshar lavin, and therefore that's the reason that mistake you're not going to make a bracha. But we just parenthetically mention an idea that we mentioned elsewhere, but it has to be a real suffix. Sometimes, like, wait, did I make a bracha? And that means I'm not sure. And sometimes the way that did I make a bracha is, wait, I forgot to make a bracha. I mean, you have to be careful that it's a real suffix before we go with the rules of suffix brachas lahakel. One more sif yod, says the mechaber. In the makim brachas hamaitzi bir shakol niyabed varay, oishem abrach rechanam malkel marid haipita, you are still yotze. Says Mishabur Sivkat non bibirchas hamaitzi b'makom brachas hamaitzi hainu. After pasu davar chashav, bread is chashav yilachi b'ani b'devin and bir shakol. It's a chashav, and that's why it gets its own bracha of hamaitzi lachem in aretz. But says Mishabur b'diavad shakol works. A kolshkin, and certainly I'll call David is like once in Rishon Seval. If anything else, Lamaisa b'diavad shachris will work. Birchas shakol niyavet varos if katan an aleph. Hainu shamar baruch Hashem l'kinem malachlam shakol niyavet varay. Oyav shalei yisker tchila klal rak omer bracha chamad ha'ipita v'chulu l'chod yatsa. Kiven she'yishem malchus v'yishem malchus. You have praising Hashem for the food. That's what you need. The milas rachmana, when he said bracha rachmana kema kama Hashem shkin karim v'sabavel milu malkahu malchus that shem kavoy malchus alam v'ayed. Sivkatan and Beis Daipitim Ar Malka Mari Dahai Vlos Kirshem Abbas Kal lets you left out the bread. Efshat Yatsa Kif Shavas Min Khafana Vayim Beralacha. It's not sure. Yatsa Sivkatan and Gimel, but the Evid, of course. Av Lechatchila Aser B'Shteihem. This is not Lechatchila Va'avte Brachos. Now Maris Cholash. It says Mishra. Wait, you're allowed to say brachos in any language on the next page. Hainu Echad L'Shina Klal. You did change. If that would be a similar appellation of the bracha, just in a different terminology. And that as well, one would be Yoitze with. We'll pick it up from Sif Yuda Aleph in the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya. Of Mishnah Berurah over here begins with the word im hayu, and then it continues with the words in front of you. Shnayim ayirabim. If there's two or more people, echad mevarich lekulam. Says the Mishnah Berurah, when we have two or more people, what is the halacha? One makes the bracha for everyone. V'davka yisebu shudarach keva. This is only if they're all lying down together. Or balabayis and bnei beisai davik yisebai. Or it's the balabayis with his household members. That's considered as if they're all asebu together. They're just sitting. You have a keva. A kavi is together. Then everyone should make a bracha by themselves. You need a siba. You need to figure out a way to have a kaviyas of everyone together. Once they prepared a place to eat, have a keva, that's considered a keva as well. So number one is a siba, you're lying down together. Number two is if you're not lying down, but if you say, let's eat in this place, that is the same level, says the Machaber, as a siba. Continues the Machaber, that nowadays, we don't normally lie down. Sitting down at one table, or one tablecloth, have a kviyas. That's considered a kviyas. You see what they do, even people of the group, is like they're lying down, is like they're reclining together. Even if we set a place for achila, balabayis in bnei beisai, so within the progression of that, it used to be that a seba was the way to have everyone together. Then, or without a seba is to say, let's all eat together. Nowadays, says the Machaber, that we don't normally do a seba sitting at one table, one mappa. That is what creates a kviyas. And now that the creation of the kviyas is via the table, says the Machaber, merely designating one area to eat is not going to be enough unless what? Unless they're actually sitting at one table. And we continue with the Mishnah Berurah over here. We continue with the Mishnah Berurah Sifkatan Nun Dalit. Shnayim Oirabim, two or more people, says the Mishnah Berurah. Naka Lashain is that we said this Lashain Mishad Birchas Hamazon Dinu Davka B'Shleishim Izam Den Yachad. Because by Birchas Hamazon, Dinu Davka B'Shleishim Izam Den Yachad U'Maitzi Kol Echad Es Chavero. You need three people Davka. But Shnayim Ei Maitzi Nechas Chavero, two people that are not Maitzi each other L'Chatchila. By Birchas Hamaitzi, even two people L'Chatchila can be Maitzi one another. Kufsadi Gimel b'Mishnah Berurah. Hey Seibu. So the first way to create the kviyah, said the Machaber, is that everyone is a Seibu. Everyone is lying down, reclining together. I'll see the end. That was the way that they used to eat. They were lying on the left side. Nun Vav says Mishnah Berurah in Bnei Beiser. The second way to create the kviyas is if you're together with your family. Misham denigrayin achrav shumeisiv. Because then the whole of the Bnei Beiso are drawn after. The Balabais, which is reclining, that is Meisiv, like Achmasar v'nimai, if you live yeshiva grade, even just sitting. Have a keva, these are ways to create a keva, Sefkatan and Zayin, Valkina, therefore. V'afilu kol echad oichal mikikaroi, mitzarfim. Even though everyone's eating from their own kikar, it's mitzarf. Afilu b'nei chabura, Sefkatan and Chas, it's a leimar. She'enoi Balabais b'nei Beiso. Not necessarily one family, just one group. Till they do afilu bizman gemara v'keseba. Well, it done, but then nowadays that we don't eat in this manner, sivkatin and test. Explains the Mishnah Berurah Sarach Leimer v'afilu l'didan ratzaleimer. Tolai tema don't say kivin sheishiv didan avkeseba. They do since our sitting is like they're reclining. So therefore, what? They do. Maybe so now when they didn't require a seba, we also don't require a seba. You just create a place, convey a place. They say, let's eat over here. Till they do, so Ahavim, we would have thought done as well. You shouldn't even have to sit down. Without sitting at one table. It's not called a keva. B'shem ha-gra.